The introduction of your literature review sets the tone for your entire piece of work. Let that sink in. So, in this video, we're going to talk about, or I'm going to show you what a literature review introduction should look like. Some of the key components you should look out for or that you must include. I'm very generous. Yes, you're welcome. So, introductions. I like to believe that the best approach to look at your introduction is to say it as a story. Say that you're telling a story to an audience. Now, when you're telling a story, you start at the beginning and then go all the way to the end and then end it. So that's the cohesive approach, a structured approach that your introduction must also take, which is why, again, I refer you to my video on planning your work. You need to be able to plan your literature review. You need to be able to plan your essays. It cuts across board. So if you've planned your introduction is one of the easiest bits to plan. So you know how many paragraphs do I want to have? What's the pack approach I'm using? If you've not seen that video as well, you need to watch it. The pack method, which tells you how to structure your paragraphs, what you need to put within your paragraph, and how you need to make sure it is there. So you need to have all of that. Once all of that is sorted, now what story am I telling? Most times, if you pick up an article, you would enjoy reading the flow. There's always a flow to it. Now, if I pick your introduction and there's no flow, I mean, the reader will get bored. And aside getting bored, it just shows that a lot of effort has not been put into the work. Which is why, I mean, at first I thought I was only going to talk in this video or talk to tell you, oh, these are the beats you need to put, these are the things you need to do. But I feel it's best to show you a structure and then show you what has been done. This example might be quite lengthy. I know some of you will screen grab it, would whatever you want to do with it. Just make sure that you don't plagiarize. Okay? But I'm willing to show so that you can see what to expect, what it is that is expected of you, what each paragraph should look like, and what your introduction should lead to. The entire chronological order that I was talking about should lead to a point where we can justify your research, we can justify the piece of work that you are working on. So if you've written your introduction and we still don't understand what it is you're trying to do within the work, then there was no point writing that introduction because you haven't done anything. So at the end of your introduction, your justification and rationale should be obvious. It should be obvious to anybody who reads it. So brace up, screen grab if you can. But we're going to go into my machine now and we're going to explore an example of an introduction. I won't show everything because I know I don't want you guys to plagiarize by any means. I don't want to tempt you into plagiarizing, but I will show you an extensive introduction that gives you an idea of, oh, so this is what is expected of me within the literature review introduction. Now, if you are working on a literature review and or you have your literature review coming up, if you want to write it, I mean, you want to be very productive about the writing. You do not want to waste your time. You do not want to gamble about. Then I bet it's best you sign up for our literature review course that would guide you through. It's a course and a coaching program. So you can get to choose just the course only or a course with the coaching. But my best advice is just go with the course and the coaching approach so that the moment you start and we walk you through. We're not just going to write for you, or just take your work and then start writing for you. We're going to guide you through, literally hold your hand and walk you from the beginning till the end of your work until submission. I bet you like that. Yeah. So that's why you need to do this. But then I'll still give you this freebie. So let's go into that introduction and show you what it is that you need to have. I'll pick a random topic, maybe my favorite topic. You guys know I like talking about obesity. It's a topic that is easy for everyone to grasp and for everyone to understand. That's why I use it a lot. If there's any other topic that you think I should explore, let me know in the comment section. Don't now give me your research. Don't give me your literature review topic and tell me, oh, use this one and carry out an entire literature review on it, because I see a lot of you guys do that in the comment section. You send in your article that you want to critique and you tell me, use that one, use my article. You guys are funny. So yeah, let's get into the introductory section now. Nothing big here. So to show you a quick view of what an introduction should look like. This topic is on childhood obesity. So it's parental perception of childhood obesity among BAME community, something in that line in the UK. So well-defined topic. This topic started with giving us an intro. What is childhood obesity? How has it been defined? On a standard level, WHO standard. What's the statistics globally, right? Then you now say it's a problem, you bring it down. So we're coming from a global scene, we give the statistics globally, and then we come down to Europe and we come down to the United Kingdom. What does data say about this problem in the United Kingdom? What's the statistics? So we give the recent statistics. 14.4% of children in reception are obese, while 13.3% are reported to be overweight. And we go on like that, give all of those statistics across those school years. Now, aside that, we now go on to the health implication. So we're still talking about obesity in the UK. As you can see, some of the references are UK based, Diabetes UK. But remember that you can't state facts based off of Diabetes UK. You can only give use them to reference prevalence or popular conditions like this. Yeah, just thought to point that out. So we now say it gives an health issue. There is health complication associated with childhood obesity. We talk about that in the UK as well. We specifically give evidence or studies to back it up. Now, if you look at this piece, I also want to point out how the paragraph looks like. So it starts by saying the health implication of childhood obesity is vast. Now, what does that tell you? The health implication is big. That is a point statement. If you have watched the video on the PAC method of writing paragraphs, which tells you that this is a point statement, but if you have not seen that video, I will tag it in this video as well. You can watch it, which is how you structure your paragraph for it to make sense. Now, this has made a point statement and then go on to back up that point statement by giving evidence or providing arguments. So you need to watch that video on PAC approach that I created to write a paragraph. I'm sure you will not regret it. So you do that now and say, so back to our introductory story. This introduction now says, there is an health implication. We give what that health implication is within the UK. You remember we're coming from a global scene. Now we're in the UK. So the health implication within the UK. What has research shown about children that has obesity? Now that's like long-term effect. What does that go on to be? And then what has been identified regarding these people? You now go on to say that obesity is children who have obesity almost always grow into adults with obesity, and then that it causes ideally they would assume, which is a form of critical analysis now, that obesity is caused by increased caloric input, but that's not exactly the issue. Obesity is now seen as a social problem, which is what we're trying to establish here, and then we identify those factors. So we're still building onto that story. Now, we're now saying that because we have identified that it's a social factor, that means that children from the poor communities, which mainly the BAME community belongs to,
are usually more affected. So we go on to now back that up with evidence as well. We share we're coming with our story. Global scene, global statistics and definitions come into Europe, come into the UK, the data within the UK generally now states the cause of, the implication, which is the health implication, and then the cause of this obesity to now say it's not medical, it's more of social. And because it's social, poverty is associated. And because poverty is associated, the BAME community has been linked with this to have higher. Now, what do? We provide evidence within the UK to back all of this up. So we give all those examples like 9.1%, this data from least deprived, most deprived, which again, we're focusing on the BAME community. So we give all of that and now say, so this is where our rationale starts to say that this issue is a big issue. Even the government is concerned about it. So that tells you that this is a big problem. This is something that needs to be focused on. And they have like policy papers written to identify need for research and a goal to have childhood obesity by half come 2030. So there is that. That's already a big issue. Then you now go on to say, okay, we know that it's a big issue. We need to address it. Therefore, there needs to be interventions in place. These are the interventions that we have. These are examples of the interventions, but the one we want to focus on is the family-based and the school-based one. Now, that's because of our topic. Remember, it is the perception of parents. Now, we now explain further to say, okay, to tackle this childhood obesity and follow the government guideline, we need to involve the parents. We need to understand what they think about these interventions that have been created, which is the main rationale for this study, is to now say, okay, what do parents think? Now, it is important to understand the perception of parents regarding this intervention, particularly because failure of the parent to adopt these interventions will result in further difficulties in tackling childhood obesity and the government not being able to achieve their goal of halving the prevalence of childhood obesity come 2030. That is our rationale. That all of that is intertwined and put together into the introduction. So you see how we are building down, like we're coming in a chronological order to say it's a big issue globally. This is what it looks like. Now coming to the UK, it's a massive issue. This is the data. These are some of the health implications that it can cause. Now, aside that, we have now seen that it's also a social problem. Now, why is it a social problem? Poverty has been linked to obesity. Now, what does that mean for those children? What does that mean for their parents? What does that mean for the government? Now, we have interventions in place to address these issues, but we need the parents on board. So we want to understand their view. That's literally really what this intervention is saying. So if a trick is, if you write your introduction and you read through it and you are not able to coherently communicate, like give a summary like I just did, communicate what you're trying to say in the manner I just did, following a chronological order, then I don't think that introduction is well written. So when you write your introduction and you read through, try to jot your point and see if they follow another, like if it flows, which is the essence of proofreading as well. Proofreading has been known to help with this. Because if you're the one working on the paper for a very long time, you get very complacent and you just get very used to it. So you might not be able to pick out your errors. But having someone do that proofreading for you makes it easier. So, I offer that service and it's available if you need it, but you can also give it to your friends, your classmates, have your supervisor have a thorough read, or the reading, universities have services where they offer reading services as well. You can give it to them as well, all of that. So, take advantage of that just to ensure that you have your work is cohesive, coherent, all of the good adjectives. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you in relation to letting your introduction come off as a story. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Okay, I know that made absolute sense, and I know you got a lot from it. Now, like I always say, make sure you send this to your friend and your classmates. Be nice to them, share this knowledge. It's possible for everybody to pass, so share, like, and subscribe as well to this channel. I will like that very much. The growth of this channel means that other people get to benefit from this. Now, until I see you again in my next video, make sure you put a smile on somebody's face. Bye.